In this podcast, I'm going to teach you how to create a podcast using GarageBand. First and foremost, the most important part of a podcast is creating your storyboard, which is this right here. All it is a boxes for pictures that you're going to take and words to go along with that. And as you're creating the podcast, you use this as a guide. When this is done, making the rest of the podcast is a lot easier. Once this is done, what you want to do is go out and find all the pictures that you're going to include. Once you do that, then you can come and you can add them to your iPhoto library. You can put them into an event called Podcast Pictures, and these are the pictures that I plan on using for my podcast. Then you can open up GarageBand and you can create a new project, a new podcast, and then click Choose. We will call this podcast, and we will save it to my podcast folder on my computer, or you can save it to your desktop, and then go ahead and click Create. Now, all you need to do is follow your storyboard. So the first one is a picture of Midvale Elementary. So we're going to go ahead and drag that to the beginning here. And it imports it. And it started out making that a really long picture, a minute long. We don't want it that long, so we'll go ahead and shorten it. You do that by clicking on the end so that the double arrow type thing comes up. Click and then drag to make it short or long. Now what I can do is on the male voice, since I'm a male, I can record what I have in my storyboard, which is the media aides at Midvale Elementary encountered a problem. So to record, I just come down to the bottom, click the record button. The media aides at Midvale Elementary encountered a problem. Pushing the spacebar will stop that cursor from still going, and then we can lengthen out the picture to be as long as the audio. We'll take the picture of the shelves, which is next, which is this right here, and you can see the faint black line behind the picture that shows where it's going to line up at. Just drop it in, and again it made it short. That's controlled by this little caret up on top, and if you pull the caret over, then it won't make your pictures any longer than what the caret is as you drop them in. We can also shorten the view so that it looks shorter by pulling things in like this. And then make it look like it's longer like that. It's not changing any times, it's just changing the zoom on the times. The next thing that we can do is get the picture of the girl. The next thing we need to do is record ourselves saying this. So you bring this recording stick to the beginning and then click, and then click on your male voice again, or female voice as the case may be, and click Many students were having a hard time finding the books they needed because the fiction is arranged by author last name, which means that interesting topics could be all over the library in no particular order. Tap the space bar and it stops recording. Then you just repeat this process for however many pictures you're going to have. When you're done, you click the share button and say send podcast to iTunes, or you can export the podcast to a disk. If you do send podcast to iTunes, they'll put it in a playlist, change the artist name, the composer, the album. You can compress it using different things, or you can change the audio settings so it's a mono, spoken, music, or higher quality. Each one of these will tell you what it's optimized for, what the bitrate per second is, and how big it's going to be. You can also choose to set the artwork to recommended size for podcasts, which is 300 by 300 pixels when exporting. And then you click the share button, and it goes through this and will make it appear in your iTunes library. Once in iTunes, you can share this by clicking Show in Finder, and then you can email this file right here, attach it to an email, or put it on a thumb drive to share it with other people.